This happens, right? You want to do some creative play. You may have an art supply. You want to try a blank sketchbook page or maybe a whole blank sketchbook and you don't know what to paint. So I'm here today to share with you some ideas that will hopefully help you break that block. But also today's video, I wanted it to be a little bit different because I want to try to explain how I came up with these ideas that I'm sharing today in the first place, so that you can either paint the ideas I'm sharing with you today and make them your own, or you can have the tools to come up with more ideas yourself. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Paula and let's get creative. So like I just said, I want to try to explain to you how I came up with the ideas I'm sharing today. It started on my last sketchbook video where I said I was thinking about doing florals or hearts. Then I received a beautiful comment by Baika Herbs, I hope that's how you pronounce it, suggesting it would be nice to draw wild plants with medicinal properties. I know nothing about plants, so I asked her for examples, and she gave me a list which I googled the day before starting this creative play to get reference images. This is the sketch I made, just jotting down a few things that called my attention, but here's the thing, I did not use this sketch or the pictures when I started painting in my sketchbook. Why? Well, because I think drawing things from memory or the lack thereof leads to creativity. I think there's a quote about this. I forgot how it goes. But of course I googled it and here it is. Creativity is suspended between memory and forgetting. This is by Jorge Luis Borges. So basically, not remembering leads to inventing new things. And that's what I'm doing today, starting by drawing plantain leaves. I drew a page full of those beautiful leaves. With the drawing done, I erased the lines a bit so they wouldn't show through my watercolors. Instead of painting them green, I thought I would make them multicolor, with very bright colors allowing them to mix randomly. Just having fun. I'm not the best at color, so this was a great way to experiment. When the page was dry, I came in with my colored pencils and drew a loose outline and sketchy details on top. And I had fun with this as well. I also added a bit of shadows with the colored pencils to create some depth. And once done, I absolutely love the page. And when I love a page in my sketchbook and I think it would make wonderful wall art, I create a little mock-up with the piece enlarged to help us envision how gorgeous this could be. This does wonders for my artistic self-esteem. I can picture my stuff being sold at huge retailers. On that high and having kicked my inner critic on the butt, I felt confident moving on to the next idea. So here's number 2, and as you'll see, that high quickly fades away. From the research, I also really like the calendulas, these large fluffy orange and yellow flowers on a bed of green. So I thought I would try to do a representation of those and what they look like to me. I started painting red, orangey, yellow circles, and I gave them dark centers, which is not even close to the image I saw, but remember I was painting from my memory, or my lack of memory. When I was done, I thought it would be a good idea to contrast the very solid watercolor circles by drawing just outlines for the leaves and making them transparent or lighter. So I drew a bunch of leaves surrounding the flowers with colored pencils. And I can see now that I'm editing how these leaves are super different from the original pictures, but that's what my brain told me to draw. I was just trying to put down what I felt I saw, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me, but maybe I'm the only one with the artistic issues. So finished filling the space with the leaves and I really didn't like it. So of course the artistic tantrum started to build up and I thought about trashing this page or covering it somehow, but I decided to manage the anger and just added lines on top of the flowers too, hoping it would help it match. But I'm tapping my fingers again, which means I hate it. I thought I would push on by painting with watercolor on top of the leaves now, hoping to make both surfaces match and have a more harmonious composition. And I hate that too. I finally thought I'd try to draw the roundness of the petals on each circle, but I didn't like those either, so I just gave up. I completely gave up. I hated it. And oh, it's not even on the right side up. It was upside down. It's still awful. Whatever, the first one was so beautiful and now this one I don't like at all. But I'm going to give it a second try. I wasn't really on the right mindset just yet, still pissy and very close to a full artistic tantrum, but I thought maybe my ideas would work if I simplified it or if I abstracted the flowers further. So circles. I wanted the borders to be darker this time, so after I painted the first one, I followed by just painting an outline for the next ones. I thought once that first layer dried, I would paint another one on top, the whole circle, and that would make the edge look darker. As soon as I grabbed what I thought was a clean brush, it had leftover black paint on it. This happens, I have kids. So sometimes my art supplies get used and I don't even know. But I just wiped it off and painted all of them. I did have to add an extra layer to make those borders darker. Painted the centers too and decided to trace the edges with an acrylic marker. I immediately hated the first color I chose, so I switched it. Trying to paint over the first color, but it was too dark to be easily covered. While that dried, I carry on painting the outlines of the rest of the flowers. I wasn't convinced, so I tried to see if red would work, and no, I still hated it. It's blah. The whole thing actually just blah. So I ended up painting that first flower with a completely different color since it was so noticeably different anyhow. And yeah, I hate this page. Hate it. Hate them both. So, okay, I had to calm down because I felt like not carrying on with the video. So I thought, okay, what would you say to someone else in the same situation? Someone about to throw the sketchbook out the window. Well, I would say keep trying. Here's the thing. On my normal sketchbook practice, as an artist developing ideas and not as a YouTuber trying to share my play, I would beat that idea until I got something either bored or more creative. So here are some of my sketchbooks and I want to show you how I truly do that, page after page. On this one, you can see I was exploring these very minimal abstract landscapes. So I'm painting them again and again, trying different materials, different colors. Same things with the trees. I wanted hearts in trees, so I just played different colors, sizes, medium, painting over things. Because this is my personal space that usually no one sees. I explore and try lots of things. More trees on this large sketchbook. I'm obsessed with figuring out how to paint them in a way that's irresistible. Haven't gotten there yet, but you can see how I keep going until I get something that I like. Same thing with the portraits, playing with ideas for my goddesses, and you can see the results on my online gallery, which I'll link in the description, but it's the playing that leads to ideas. The hating one and trying over and over. All of these portraits I drew with my daughter's markers that she just left on my bed. All of them, same time, 1 hour or so, I don't even remember. And this repetition is also what leads to developing your own style, which is also a question I get a lot on my Instagram account. How did I come up with my style for paintings? This is how. Repetition, play with it, fail, fail, fail. Do it again until something happens or something clicks. It's just repetition from a drop of inspiration and the style develops. You cannot do it overnight. You have to do it again and again and again, until you maybe stumble onto something that's your own, because you can start with a reference picture, but then you let yourself get carried away by the ideas and the exploration, and in that space is where you can find something. So I usually don't do this in my sketchbook videos, but for today I'm going to try it for a third time to see what happens. And I'm glad I did. One more idea based on the same flower. So again, started by filling the page with these orangey yellow circles. I added darker centers to them and just did a couple of leaves with watercolors. I painted a dark rectangle behind them to serve as a background and to frame the flowers, just like the leaves did in the picture. Drew a few lines on the flowers and on the leaves with colored pencils, and that was it. And I really like this one now. Now I'm onto something. So yes, I will again show you this page as a large print on a beautiful space. And this proves to me that those artistic fails and tantrums are worth going through, because on the other side of those, maybe your next beautiful piece. And knowing I'm not a terrible artist who should turn in her brushes. I was really happy now, so I thought I earned the right to play. So for the next page, I just wanted to take the idea of that horsetail plant, I think it was, or the image I got from it, and paint it all over. For some reason, this is what I could remember, and it looks like a slice of the plant actually, a little circle with spikes coming out from it. So to me, rainbow is fun and playful, and I filled the page of these circles with all my colors. And it's nothing out of the ordinary, but it was fun, and it was something my brain and my art practice needed. The more time I spent being a full-time artist and earning money from selling my paintings, the more I realized my brain still needs to do things like this to play. If not, art becomes a stressful job, and I'm blessed to call my passion my job, so I don't want to turn it into something stressful. So I actively choose to allow myself time to play. I created this channel to have fun, play, and hopefully inspire, and this decision has definitely made me happier as an artist. With this playful attitude, I started to fill my next page with these little wonky, colorful rectangles. The idea was to create little backgrounds on top of which I could doodle. So once they were dry, I started to doodle a plant. Nothing in particular, just using my imagination, and my imagination did me wrong. That's the ugliest doodle I've ever doodled, but no need to get frustrated again. I could still use the page. I just needed to paint over that tiny rectangle. It's all good. I'm allowed at least one full-on artistic little tiny tantrum where I can cover something, right? So I did it, and I decided maybe I should do bigger flowers. Drew my first one, and I actually liked it, so I carried on by adding more detail. Not great, but I was still happy, so I carried through with the idea. A whole page filled with doodle flowers, some better than others, but a fun page regardless. It was like a very mindless activity, like when I used to doodle when I was on the phone with my friends as a teenager. So fun, even though I have to be honest, the results are not something I'm loving. There's a couple of flowers that I could maybe revisit and redraw and get ideas from, but this was just okay. And just okay is okay sometimes. I'm labeling it as a good exercise where I gave myself permission to paint over something, so that made me happy. Tantrum successful. As always, I have lost count on which number of ideas I'm sharing. I know the video is sharing 10 ideas total, but I have no clue what number this is, so I'm not even going to try. Again, going back to very watery, colorful rainbow watercolors. I remember one of the flowers I saw yesterday was kind of cute. They were all yellow, so I'm taking a lot of artistic liberty here. But I remember the petals were super squared and that they had little spikes in the middle. I really liked those. So playing with color, I filled the whole page with the not accurate flowers, not yellow, but all of the colors. When they were dried, I went back to using a mix of colored pencils to do all of the centers. I really liked that from the first page, so I wanted to do it again. And to finish it, I added a few leaves to the composition, and here it is. Super simple, but I actually like this one too, and I think it could be wall art as well. So here it is in a room. Very pretty. I was still in the mood to fill spaces with watercolors, so I painted the background, creating a watery gradient between random colors for the next idea. After that, I wanted to draw some leaves with white marker. I was doing it with my Artex brush marker, but I have to be honest here, the Posca is much better than the white Artex marker. It's just a lot more opaque. It works better, and you can see even in these first leaves I drew, it's better, and I had forgotten to shake it. I don't know if you know this, but you have to shake your Posca markers for the paint to get mixed. So once you shake them, it's gonna be much more opaque. You can immediately see the difference from the side of the first leaves I drew and the other side once I shook the marker. I filled the background with a lot of branches and leaves. I allowed it to dry completely and went back over it with watercolors. I just wanted these transparent colors to have variations over the white lines. I thought it was going to be pretty and also really enjoyable. Then on top of that, once it dried, I decided to draw a lot of branches with color pencils. I gotta tell you, I'm learning the secret with color pencils is a very sharp point. To draw, outline, or color. I chose 3 colors and filled the page with branches and little leaves. Pretty relaxing, and you can't really go wrong. Here's the page finished, and I'm so happy with the result. I think the layering elevates it, and the idea is worth exploring further. Here's that artwork in a wall. I think it's so beautiful. Moving on to another page, again, what I remember from one of the plants I saw the day before. I cannot even remember the name now, just a field of green with pops of bright color here and there. Really bright purple and pink surrounded by a lot of green. I chose to have fun with the brush, making little brush strokes, just stains of colors like I remembered, no clear shapes. The only thing I did have care on painting was a straight edge around the whole page, creating a rectangle of foliage of sort. I sped the drying process of the first layer with my heat gun to come in with more brush strokes to create more leaves and that floral imagery. Once that was dry and I was happy with it, I again brought in my colored pencils to try to outline the flowers somehow. And I was doing this from memory, so I tried different ways to show the petals. Not very successfully, but by playing with it, I landed on drawing little half hearts all over. So I drew hearts on top of the colorful bits for flowers and hearts on the green bits for leaves. It was a fun exercise, and I think I want to explore the idea of using hearts as texture more. Now, final page of the day, so I know for sure this is number 10. Yay! This one is a very simple one, but I think you can really elevate it, maybe even on canvas with gold leaf. I drew a large leaf, no reference really, just making it up, and a rectangle surrounding it like a background again. Erased the lines a little bit so they wouldn't show through the watercolor, and I chose a dark color for the background. After that, I grabbed my favorite paint marker, which is my gold marker, and I drew the outline for the leaf. I also wanted the leaf to have lines going across it, like this little leaf I created on a different video. I really like the geometry on it, so I tried to recreate that. And somewhere in the process, my brain got lost and it looks completely different. I ended up with this. It's not the same, but I still like it. Then I just painted every section of the leaf with my watercolors, having fun and mixing some of them. I went over the areas where I thought the paint was not saturated enough, and that was it. I mean, it's such a simple thing, but so beautiful, and it will be the last mock-up of the day. What do you think? Let's look back at what we painted today. Here are the banana leaves. Actually, these are my favorite from this video. I love, 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 love them. Then we have my attempts of interpreting flowers, and both of these to me are not good. They are horrid, actually. Still not happy with them, but you know, I'm learning to leave things behind and accepting them without trying to paint over them. I now understand these two were necessary for me to arrive to that third idea, which I really, really love. So they'll stay in my sketchbook and leave to see another day without getting painted over, because I can now justify their existence. Next, my colorful play. 3 pages of that, and I do think I got ideas from this for other future pages. Oh, you can see how you can start playing and just coming up with stuff. Then this one that I actually love. I think it's so nice with the white and the transparency from the watercolor. I really, really like this field of flowers too. And last but not least, the modern leaf. But before signing out, I wanted to let you know that I've reached a point where it's becoming really, really hard for me to keep up with all of the comments. I do read them all, but it takes me hours to reply, especially in the way I like to reply, with attention and thoughtfulness. So if you're one of my besties and you're still watching and there's something you really want me to reply fast or to read, please preface your comment by adding the notebook emoji for this video. This way I'll know which comments to prioritize and reply to first. I'll probably change the emoji on every video, so you know, I'll know and you'll know, and they won't know that we know, but we'll know. Okay. That's it from me. Thank you again for being here. Please leave your comments with the notebook emoji so I can reply as fast as I can. Let me know if you liked anything. Let me know if you have suggestions. And with that, I hope you're having the most beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.